I'm Shannon Crotty, founder and CEO of Polka Dot Powerhouse. I've come to you to tell you a little bit more about who we are and how we started. So I am a transplant to Wisconsin from Oklahoma, and I've been here about 30 years. I moved here when I became engaged to my husband, Brian, and so I really wasn't prepared when I came here. I wasn't prepared for the weather, and I wasn't prepared for the fact that I didn't know it at the time, but I didn't know how to make friends as an adult. I had lived in the same hometown my whole life, and I graduated with 900 people in a football stadium. That was our graduating class size. So I'd always had a lot of friends. It wasn't until I moved to Wisconsin for my husband that I realized that I didn't know how to make friends as an adult. And I really struggled and probably spent a good year and a half in that struggle. I eventually became a realtor and I made a lot of great friends that way. And I started to notice the other areas around us had women's magazines, but we didn't. And I really wanted to be a reader of a local women's magazine. So I kept telling everybody, someone should start this. And everybody's like, yeah, someone needs to do that. But no one ever showed up. So even 2 years after I started to promote this, someone needed to do this. No one had shown up. And I was in a room of about 40 realtors. And I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't strategizing or planning it. I have this little side hobby of saying things and then, kind of jumping off the cliff and building the plane on the way down. So I heard myself say, well, if no one's going to do this, then I'm going to do it. And everybody was looking at me and like, do you know what you're doing? No, I don't know. But luckily, God put people on my path that did know what they were doing. So we launched our region's women's magazine. It was a lot like Polka Dot, but in print. So very inspirational, motivational women in our area. And we had a lot of fun with that. On every side of success, there's also a shit show you have to deal with. So there's a lot of things I didn't count on, a lot of stress and struggle, but we had a lot of fun with the magazine. And it was during the time that I had the magazine that my sister Tina passed. Now, my sister Tina was my only sibling, and she was 3 years older than me, and she was my protector. So remember I said I grew up and graduated with a class of 900 people. That's true. But we had a house that had a lot of secrets and a lot of camouflage going on. And so I had all these friends, but I did not grow up knowing how to develop close relationships with people. So you would have all these friends in theory, but I would stand back and watch them develop really close relationships while I watched from a distance. It was just our safety mechanism. It was just how we lived. And so that's kind of how I grew up. But when I got home with Tina, who lived at my house, who was my sister, I didn't have to have that camouflage anymore. I didn't have to have that shield up anymore. So with Tina, I could completely relax. Tina was actually my very first relationship, my very first experience in a relationship of just breathing. Like if you take that breath in and out, that's how it felt to be with Tina. That ease of letting every worry and every guard down and being who you are. So it was while I had the magazine that my sister Tina passed. And so and at that point, Tina, I had a lot of friends, but at that point, Tina was probably one of about 5 people I just felt like I could truly be myself with. And so when she passed, it really kicked that kickstand out from under me, right? So it was a couple of years after Tina passed, and I have a bit of pop rock's brain. I'm a visionary with very little or challenging detail skills. So I always have a millions of ideas going at one time. And I remember that we kept hearing from readers that this is so cool to read about women, but how do I meet these women in real life? And although I had been a realtor, although I owned a local women's magazine, I still didn't have a great answer for them. I still wasn't a great connector. I mean, I had gotten better certainly, but I wasn't a great connector. So I didn't have a great answer for them. And it was during the time that I had the magazine that Tina passed, and I got thrown into that swirl. And coming out of that, the 2 years following that, we kept hearing these things from these readers. And anytime I hear something a lot, I know I'm supposed to at least mentally investigate or think about or pay attention to something. And so I started to, think, what is it that I'm supposed to see here? Why do I keep hearing this from people? One day I was upset in my car about something completely unrelated, and I was crying, and I pulled the car over and I was praying to my sister Tina. And I said, Tina, I just need your help and I need your guidance. And all of a sudden, the name Polka Dot Powerhouse was in my head. So I knew Tina had sent me this name. I didn't know what I was supposed to do with it. I wasn't talking to really anybody about it. And several months later, at a editorial board meeting for the magazine, it flies out of my mouth, like we're planning an issue, and it flies out of my mouth. I think we should start this group for women under the magazine, no drama, just women helping women. And I remember them being very like, what is wrong with you? Where are you at mentally? We're trying to plan this issue. So I knew that the staff wasn't bought in, but I was determined. So they're like, okay, this is what we're doing. And so we start to plaster the magazine. That was a monthly magazine with these ads for Polka Dot Powerhouse. It was going to be an internet launch, not a live launch, about 3 months ahead. And so in every issue of that 3 months, it was the main focus of the issue were these advertisements for Polka Dot Powerhouse. Leading up to the launch, we had over 100 people say they were going to join. And we didn't have money for a new website. So I am artistically challenged. I'm not very artistic. Like if I draw a stick person, you're not quite sure what that is. If it's a circle, a square, a stick person, you're not sure. So I'm telling you that because I built the first website. It was very icky. It had words falling off the side and the clip art and different fonts. And I thought it was all bad, and it was really, really bad. I knew it was bad, actually. And so going up to that launch where we had over 100 people say they were going to join, I thought we were going to crash this site. Like, this is going to be horrible. And of course, we had our staff in there as far as being members. But I thought this website is not built for 100 people to come in. So that was what I was really, really worried about. We get to launch day and we're all real prepared for it. Everybody's ready. The staff is ready. And only one person joined on launch day. Right? Can you feel that with me? It did not feel good at all. And so I'm feeling gutted. I didn't know what I'd done wrong. I felt very responsible for the success of the name because my sister had sent it to me, right? The staff's giving me the side eye because they had not really completely bought into it either. But I'm just trying to deflect. I'm like, they forgot. We just got to remind them. But even 2 months later, we still had that one paid member who, by the way, there was no way I was telling her she was the only paid member. She was actually a friend of mine and an advertiser for the magazine that lived more than an hour away. So she had joined to support me, but actually never logged back in until years later. So I didn't know what to do with it, right? And the staff, I remember coming to the loft, the office we had for the staff, and the staff just trying to talk some sense into me and saying, you got to do something, right? This is making the magazine look bad. We don't know what to tell people. Look at Shannon. Everyone has a bad idea like that, but this was just a bad idea. And I remember listening to them and saying, I know you're right. Believe me, no one feels more humiliated or embarrassed than me. I don't know what I've done wrong. I don't know what I did wrong with this name, but there's something in my gut telling me not to quit. And maybe for the first time in my life, I remember thinking, I'm going to listen and trust myself. So I know they probably thought I was going through some kind of a crisis, but we had our first meeting in October. I remember telling them, look, even if it's just the 5 of us going to lunch once a month, this is what we're doing. And we're calling it Polka Dot Powerhouse. We're moving forward in whatever way it looks like. And so we had our first live meeting in October of 2012, about 20 minutes from my home. And we had 12 people attend and 10 of them joined. And then some months there was no one, some months there was one. At the end of the first year, we were at 30 members. And I remember members started to travel in from other areas because the group was so different than what they had experienced. And they started to ask us to spread out. That sounded horribly scary to me. There was no way. I just said, no, I can't. I don't have the bandwidth. I have the magazine. I have this. I don't have the time to spread out. We're just going to be a local group. Well, you know how sometimes God, the universe, whatever you believe in, if you don't make the move, it kicks you from behind in that direction. That's what happened to me. So our attorneys contact us and say, we don't know what you're planning to do with these 2 companies, but they're becoming very melded together. And we need to split them up before you cannot separate them anymore. So we split the companies in 2. And we, again, still had no immediate plans of what we were going to do. We weren't sure. And so I remember having lunch with a friend of mine who's still a dot sister, and she was a nighttime news broadcaster, and she was missing time with her kids. And I was saying, I'm not sure what we're going to do with the magazine. And all of a sudden, before I had a chance to take a breath, we were in contract for her and her spouse to buy the magazine, which was horribly inconvenient because that had always been my crutch, is having the magazine and not having enough time to spread Polka Dot out. And so all the people that I had been shoo-shooing away with my, I don't have the bandwidth, said, hey, you don't have the magazine anymore. I guess we can spread out now. So we wound up launching a chapter an hour away and an hour and a half away. And those people had people traveling in. And now at the time of this recording, we're just under 3,000 members across the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, and many locations. Actually, we have members worldwide that don't have chapters near them. And we say that every new member is a sister that my sister Tina has sent. And she sent me so many amazing sisters. And our evolution has really, business is certainly done in Polka Dot, but sisterhood is that focus. We have a diamond level that's more about business, but our main membership is really that focus is about that sisterhood component and having people with you, all the different parts of your life, and utilizing the community in different parts of your life for different reasons, whether that's you need allies or education, whether that you need development or support, or you just need more friends, or you need socials, or whatever that is. And we have members, we're super proud to have members that are just out of college and are retired and everywhere in between, and from all walks of life, races, belief systems, all of that. We're really proud to have that. And my focus as a CEO is really to hold that vision of what Polka Dot is and make sure that we're honoring what that is, and honoring that relationship, that ability, take that breath in again, to have a place to belong, for people to see you in your importance, to encourage you to go wherever you want to go, not try to change you, just try to help you get where you want to go and provide support as you do so. And I'm very, very proud of the community. If you have any questions, please reach out to a local leader or one of our upper leaders. And I hope that tells you a little bit more about Polka Dot Powerhouse. Hope that you have a great day. Bye.